devastating hurricanes, unprecedented heat waves, catastrophic flooding. An upward trend of extreme weather and climate events is leading to significant losses across the globe. In the fight against climate change, no one is a bystander. China has pledged to peak the nation's CO2 emissions before 2030 and achieve carbon neutrality by 2060. To shed light on the country's journey towards sustainable development, our reporters traveled across China to capture the stories of individuals, enterprises and public institutions who are striving to make a difference. As COP29, the UN Climate Change Conference, convenes from November the 11th to the 22nd in Azerbaijan, CGTN Radio brings you a special series, Greener China, A Journey to 2060. Join us on your favorite podcast platforms to witness Chinese people's awareness, actions and the challenges we face as the country journeys into a greener future.
Carbon dioxide, a colorless, tasteless and odorless gas, adds the crisp feel to every can of soda. But it's also an unavoidable byproduct of industrial growth, acting as the invisible culprit behind global warming. In northeast China, known for its high greenhouse gas emissions, carbon dioxide has become central to the region's transition to green energy and sustainable practices. In 2021, the three provinces in the region, Heilongjiang, Liaoning and Jilin, accounted for less than 5% of China's GDP, but contributed nearly 9% of its carbon dioxide emissions, largely due to heavy industry. Hello and welcome to our special series, Greener China, A Journey to 2060. In the last episode, we explored how the industrial sector in northeast China has raised their carbon awareness. To understand how the awareness is transformed into action, I visited key industrial plants in the region and saw firsthand their efforts to combat emissions. And Steel, the third largest steel producer in the world, produces over 25 million tons of crude steel annually, with its products exported to over 70 countries and regions. However, this output comes at an environmental cost. For every 10,000 yuan of output, nearly 5.5 tons of carbon dioxide are emitted. Ansteel's strategic department manager Tian Yong outlined their plan for carbon reduction.
Ansteel announced its own carbon goals in 2021. We aim to reach carbon peak by 2025 and achieve carbon neutrality by 2050.
That means their timeline is significantly ahead of the national targets. Ansteel operates one of China's largest iron mines. Open-pit mining, often described as mountain destroyers, requires massive land modification and impacts the environment. With its shape like a funnel, deeper mine exploitation requires larger-sized mine pits. To mitigate this, Ansteel has adopted underground mining in some of their pits, reducing both environmental damage and carbon emissions. Ansteel's Yanqian Mountain has one of the largest open-pit iron mines in China. Underground mining was introduced there in 2012, spearheaded by Chu Qiang with the mine's management team.
这个露天转到井下这个过程本身就是对环境照比以前有了很大的改善，对吧？
Open pit mining disrupts the mountain's environment, and blasting causes pollution. Underground mining, on the other hand, leaves the surface intact and consumes less energy.
上边环境破坏没有了。露天转井下以后，它整个这个开采工艺，所有的能耗，我现在全都是。
All our machines are electric, replacing the carbon-heavy trucks and large engineering machinery used in open pits. As long as we use green energy sources like solar and wind power, we achieve sustainable production.
它如果是清洁能源，我就是清洁生产。
就是井下难免有灰。
Chen Chuan, a miner at Yanqian Mountain, used to drive fossil fuel ore collectors in open-pit mines. He shared how this role has changed.
还是实际上好操作，
能感觉到。
能感觉到有那个你有那个触感或者什么的。我就在这戳一铲料是我手。
Now we operate electric mining robots remotely from the office. It feels like playing a video game.
就跟玩游戏一模一样。
Technology has also significantly advanced energy conservation at Yanshan Mountain.
现在通过我家智慧矿山的建设，我采用的是智能按需的供风方式。
Our ventilation fans used to run 24/7. Now, with air detectors and big data analysis, we adjust the airflow as needed, reducing energy consumption. The same goes for water pumps and saves over 20% of energy.
是几种模式。
Smart production extends further to ore processing. Most of the minerals from Ansteel's iron mines are lean ore, which must undergo reprocessing to produce high-quality ore concentrates through magnetic and weight screening. Unlike traditional iron ore processing facilities that rely heavily on manual operation to manage machinery and adjust the parameters such as temperature and energy consumption, Ansteel's Guanbaoshan factory leverages AI algorithms and unmanned equipment for process management. The factory's energy management system analyzes energy consumption data in real time and makes adjustments to prevent energy waste. Zhang Guoliang, head of the factory, noted the impact of these innovations.
黑灯工厂啊，就是刚才所说的这些都是正常那个情况厂的那些设施，所有这些。
Previously, workers had to manually operate machines, relying on sight, sound, and touch to assess ore quality. Now the sensors provide real-time data on screen, improving efficiency and cutting energy use.
This aligns with what Dr. Zhou Jingfeng, Secretary General of China Biodiversity Conservation and Green Development Foundation, says about the principles for industrial carbon control.
工业生产减排的有几个基本的最重要的原则。第一个原则就是节约。
There are several basic principles for carbon reduction in the industrial sector. One is to reduce material use. For instance, producing less packaging for products like cakes results in fewer emissions.
生产包装物的碳排放你就减少了。第二个呢，就是再利用。我看过有楼。
The second is reusing materials. To my knowledge, certain buildings are constructed with at least 70% recycled material.
这个叫 reuse。
Tian Yong, head of Ansteel's strategic department, explains how steel's properties make it ideal for reuse.
产品是可以循环利用的，它不像煤炭，煤炭它是
Unlike coal, which is permanently transformed when burned, steel can be recycled, and old car steel can be melted down and turned into new products.
Ansteel's cold rolling plant, which produces industrial steel for automotive and appliance sectors, has seen a reduction in emissions by combining scrap steel recycling with renewable energy. Ansteel researcher Zhang Feng says the methods have been put into the production line after experiments in the lab.
现在我们团队主要在做滤缸，第一条路径是我们高炉加。
Our focus is on green steel. By recycling scrap steel as 40% of raw material and using renewable electricity, we've cut carbon emissions by 30%. Using only scrap steel in electric furnaces reduces emissions by 50 to 60%.
还是比较可观的。
The cold-rolled steel is now part of Ansteel's brand and grain, which targets a carbon slash of 90% in its steel products by 2030. Other mega steel plants in China, like Bao Steel, have also launched their own grain steel brands featuring low-carbon production. Carbon dioxide can actually be used in industrial production. CCUS, carbon capture, utilization and storage, is currently an effective technology for handling carbon dioxide. China's largest oil field, Daqing Oil Field, implemented CO2-driven oil recovery technology long ago. In recent years, this technology has gained more attention.
也是针对我们油田的情况。
Engineer Li Ronghua told me Daqing's Yushuling oil plant is the most iconic case in adopting the technology to extract oil, given the complex geographical features underground.
刚才说的说， 人物压力轻飘飘，经过压力不出油。大象油水炼油田呢，它是属于一个特地渗致密的一个油槽。
As the saying goes, people need pressure to work hard, and oil fields need pressure to produce. Injected CO2 provides this pressure, where water injection no longer works. This mechanism is like an umbrella. When it's raining, the umbrella can block water, but can't block air. For the rocks underneath, water cannot go through to pump the oil, but air can.
对它吹气儿的话，它是能透气的。
Initially, CO2 was purchased to apply into operation. Now that Daqing already produces carbon dioxide in its natural gas collection process, Yushuling oil plant has started to use CO2 directly supplied from the company's natural gas plant. Engineer Xu Shengyun with the gas plant says this makes a win-win situation for both sides.
气田气在开采过程中，里面含有10%到20%这样的一个二氧化碳。原来的这个生产过程。
After extracting natural gas, which contains 10 to 20% of carbon dioxide, we would have emitted it if not for the demand from the oil fields. Now we pipe it for oil extraction.
生产用来蓄油。
Daqing is not the only oil field in China capturing carbon dioxide and storing it underground. Over 40 oil fields in Shandong, Xinjiang, and Sichuan have also joined in the efforts. China's Ministry of Natural Resources estimates that over 340,000 square kilometers, an equivalent to the size of Finland, has CO2 storage potential in China.
当时应该是二氧化碳。
Pang Zhiqing, director of Daqing Oilfield's New Energy Department, says carbon capture, utilization, and storage has the potential to give them more advantages.
我想啊，随着国家碳这个减排体系的完善
，As the carbon reduction drive intensifies and the carbon trading system progresses, CCUS will play a key role in future carbon management.
应该也是很有前景。
Daqing's No. 6 oil production plant uses the traditional method of extracting oil with water. It's energy intensive, with up to 97% of water in every 10 tons extracted. Kan Baochuan, the new energy project manager, said to lower energy consumption, the plant has invested in wind, solar, and thermal energy projects.
光伏板之前我们总要是因为油田整个生产过程中，这个机泵消耗了大量的电能。
Solar panels power oil pumps, which were previously run on coal-generated electricity, and the heating process consumes a lot of natural gas. The shift to clean energy has made our production greener and more cost-effective.
实现那个清洁电能和清洁热能的利用，实现了一个高的一个转化效率。
Ansteel and Daqing Oilfield have also invested in eco parks. Ansteel has spent 20 years rehabilitating one of its former mine rock dumps, restoring them to green spaces. Li Hui, the eco park manager, says it offers a successful test for all the rock dumps in Ansteel.
以前这个生态园呢，这一块呢啊，整个浪都是岩石山。
Once a barren, lifeless rock field, our eco-park is now a natural haven. After all, Ansteel mining is a resource-based enterprise. After damage is done, we try to repair the environment.
把这个是整个浪的排烟场进行这个复绿。
Daqing Oilfield has transformed its old industrial and residential areas to eco-parks and restored natural wetlands. The manager of one of the parks was proud to tell me that almost all facilities in their park have zero carbon emissions.
我们是经过了天津排放权交易所的认证。
By August this year, we were officially certified as carbon neutral.
这个园区已经基本实现了碳中和。
Despite the progress, Dr. Zhou Jingfeng from China Biodiversity Conservation and the Green Development Foundation notes that Northeast China's traditional development model still poses challenges to achieving carbon neutrality. Stats show from 2016 to 2021, carbon emissions per GDP unit in the region declined slower than the national average.
东北的老工业基地为我们的经济社会发展做出巨大贡献，但是
The Northeast region has greatly contributed to our economic and social development, but now faces new challenges. They must address funding, technology issues, and promote carbon awareness to ensure nobody is left behind in meeting China's ecological targets.
In our next episode, we will explore the challenges faced by northeast China's industrial giants like Ansteel and Daqing oil fields in reaching their carbon goals. I'm Yang Guang. Bye for now.